Welcome back, my cuties, my queens, my absolute baddies. Today's episode is all about how to get what you want simply by changing the way that you think. And I have been talking about getting what you want for a long, long time, mostly through an energetic and manifestation lens. But today we are bringing in the neuroscience of it all and some real action steps that you are going to be able to take that are scientifically proven, scientifically backed in order to create the life that you desire simply by shifting out of a habit and into another one. And I'm going to talk about that habit here in a second, but I am so glad you're here. I just feel like I need to say to you before we get started today, I'm so glad you're here. You are exactly where you need to be. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. And it is not a coincidence that you are listening to this episode or that you're here with me today. So let's get on into it. We are talking how to change the way that you think in order to get what you want. Now, this is not to manipulate other people. This is not to kind of decide that you are God. Nothing like that. You know, me and God are homies, and there are definitely things within life that are out of our control. But today is all about creating the life that you desire based off of who you are and shifting into a thought process and really allowing your brain to operate as the highest version of you so that you have the best chance at having the best fucking life. And that's what I'm all about. If you've been around here a while, you have seen me really, really change as a person. And I am not the same human that I was even 6 months ago. But when I look back at myself, when I was operating from a place of, oh my God, I hate my life, everything sucks, I just was unhappy. Really, the thing that I was lacking back then, that version of me, what she was lacking was the absolute confidence not only to go after what she wants, because that I think is something that a lot of us struggle with. We don't actually have the confidence to say what we want and actually go after it, but then the confidence to pursue it fully and the boldness and the absolute courage it takes to show the fuck up continually. That confidence, that root confidence, which is truly the root of everything, is what I was missing. And shifting into a confidence mindset is the bulk of today's topic because it will literally change every single part of your life. I know that a big portion of my listeners are entrepreneurs, especially because of my time as a business coach, but this applies to every ambitious queen out there, every woman that wants to change parts of her life. You can simply by following the thought process that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I personally feel very qualified to talk about this, not only because I'm someone who understands the brain and female empowerment and things like that, life as a woman, but beyond that, I am someone who used to lack confidence almost comically. It was ridiculous the amount of confidence I was lacking through so much of my life. And I want to talk a little bit about why that happens and why women get caught in this trap of constant imposter syndrome and constant lack of confidence. But real quick, just to kind of throw my lack of confidence resume out there, I used to have absolutely debilitating social anxiety. I hated social interactions. I was okay with people that I was familiar with, and I would even probably come off outgoing with the people that I knew, but I did not like meeting new people. I didn't even like dating. I really just was not someone who enjoyed putting myself out there, and a lot of it was a lack of confidence. Beyond that, I was someone who struggled really badly with body image. I didn't really like the way that I looked. I didn't like a lot of things about myself. And those thoughts, those beliefs really impacted my ability to be a confident person. Fast forward to now, I put my entire life out on social media, which requires confidence because otherwise you wouldn't be showing up. On top of the fact that I am a podcast host, which really, really requires the ability to confidently show up as yourself. And I teach women how to do that now. So there's my little justification for you. If I can turn into this, if past me can turn into present me, anyone can do this work. So now that we have established all of that, I want to share a huge myth about confidence. And I used to believe it. I used to say it. I used to think it and share it. I would watch someone with confidence, specifically women who were just radiant queens, and I would automatically assume that it was just something that they had, like naturally occurring, like the fact that I'm a brunette or the fact that I'm 5'7". Those things were chosen for me by genetics. I cannot alter those naturally occurring things necessarily. Of course, I can change them for a time. I can wear high heels to alter my height. I can dye my hair, but they will always be naturally occurring that way, at least until I'm old and gray. However, confidence is not a trait. It is not a personality trait. Confidence is a habit for your brain to get into. That's it. And when I figured that out, not only was I a little mad at myself because I was like, I wasted all of this time basically playing the victim and saying that I couldn't be confident or I didn't have it, where realistically, I could have just decided to build that habit at any point in time. And then on the other hand, I was actually comforted by that information because I realized, holy shit, this is something that I'm actually in control of. I can actually choose to become a confident person. And if you are rolling your eyes at this right now, you are me, okay? I just want to say, I was the number one hater, the number one skeptic of becoming confident or like just decide to be confident. Okay, yeah, I hear you. I see your eye roll and I raise you the 3-step thought changing pattern that I'm about to give you that's going to affect your energy. You're going to allow your brain to rewire and you are going to start getting every single thing that you want. And I'm going to tell you why all of that's going to work. So here is a breakdown of the 3 parts of getting everything that you want. And the 3 parts here are simple. I'm not going to say that they're easy all of the time, but they are really simple and they are scientifically backed by neuroscience. So all of this is essentially guaranteed to work for you as long as you are continually following it. And I don't want to call it a framework because it's more of a cycle. This is going to be a cyclical thing where you're continuously going through 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to ensure that your brain is actually doing the work and actually changing. But when you implement this, you are going to start seeing change. So here we go. Confidence starts with a decision. You are going to make a conscious decision to become confident. Now, this is not the end of the framework, and that's where a lot of people stop. A lot of people say, well, just decide to be confident. Or they're teaching energy work, and they're like, the second you decide, things change. Okay, when you decide, things start to change. But the reason why so many people feel like this work doesn't work for them is because they only take it so far. Step 1 is deciding, I'm going to be confident, or I'm going to get this thing, or I'm going to make this thing happen. Having certainty in a decision sparks something in your brain. And here's what's happening at a subconscious level and inside your mind. Number 1, when you consciously decide something and you decide, okay, I'm going to be confident or whatever it is that you want to shift, it becomes a focus for your neural pathways. Whereas before, you're running on autopilot. And right now, you are in autopilot of lack of confidence, low dopamine, yucky, I'm not good enough energy. That is not what we're going to focus on. So in order to yank yourself out of that, you need to make a decision, a conscious decision. This is who I am now. This is who I am. I am a confident woman. I am an ambitious woman. I go after what I want. And so you are consciously deciding who you are, which is going to start the domino effect of neuroplasticity. And if this is your first time listening or you're not familiar with neuroplasticity, it's just like a fancy way of saying the ability for your brain to change. And in order for confidence to become your default, in order for this highest self, big, bold, empowered energy to become your autopilot, it starts with a decision right now. So we're going to do a little exercise together right here, right now. It's a very quick way to shift into the confident queen thinking that you so desire. And so if you are in a place to close your eyes, do so now. If you're not, or you're operating a vehicle, please, let me just go on record and say, please don't close your eyes. But if you are listening to this in the comfort of your own home or in a safe space, close your eyes for a moment. Okay, perfect. So now that your eyes are closed, you're in a comfortable position. Let's take a nice deep breath together. Here we go. In and exhale, release. Perfect. Little reset for you. Now I want you to visualize the most confident, bad bitch, highest self, gets everything she wants version of you. Get her in your brain, get her there, see her, and then start to feel her. Really feel her in your body. Start to really tap into how it is to be her. What is it like? How does she move? Really, really visualize her right now and tap into how that feels in your body. And when you open your eyes here in a second, you're going to become her. Ready? Open your eyes in 3, 2, 1. Boom. You already have it. It's already there. Look at that. It wasn't some trait that you have to fight for or that is naturally occurring. It's already inside you. And you have now taken step 1 easily here with me. You've decided, you have embodied her, which is step 2. We're getting to it. You have embodied her now, and you can move forward now that you've made the decision to be her. Okay, so step 2. Now we're going to talk embodiment. And embodiment is probably the longest part of this process. And it is something that you will be doing continuously until you're to the point where confidence and that bad bitch vibe is your autopilot. Now, the reason why we did that little exercise a minute ago is because when I talk about embodiment, a lot of people think that they need to fake it till they make it. And that is a phrase that I've used before. That's even something that I have used as an approach before. But you just did that exercise with me, proving that you're not actually faking it at all. You already have it. It's just a habit that you have to embody. And the embodiment piece of getting everything that you want is really just an identity shift. You need to think about yourself differently in order to behave differently, in order to get different results and get the things that you want. So what actually is embodiment? What does it look like? What kind of things are you actually doing when you embody? Well, number 1, you need to start to think like the version of yourself that you want to be. You need to start to act like the version of yourself that you want to be. What does that require? It requires consciously deciding again and again and again that you are her and choosing things based off of the assumption that you already are her. So here's what that actually looks like. You're going to wake up in the morning. Okay, cool. I'm a confident queen today. What do I do in the morning? What do I eat for breakfast? What do I pick out to wear? What do I say when I pick up the phone? What do I choose to post on Instagram? How do I walk when I am my most confident self? And so all of these things are embodiment. You are being that person. You are shifting into the identity of that version of you who gets everything that she wants. And then something really amazing starts to happen. Your neuroplasticity is responding. Your brain is starting to override the thoughts that usually tell you that you're not good enough or that you can't do that or that you're not confident. And instead, they are starting to say, you're confident. You can do this. You can have this. You can charge this for your services. You can attract that man, or whatever. Okay, it doesn't really matter what the thing is. You start to reinforce that. Then the most amazing thing is there are little signals happening in your subconscious then, constantly seeking. Okay, it's like a scanner. Your brain's like a computer. It's like a scanner that is then searching for opportunities based off of that confidence and that positive vibe. Whereas before, it was completely filtering out any banging possibilities because you were not in a position to receive them, because you did not consider yourself a confident person. Now that you do, now that you are embodying, you are overriding the thoughts in your brain that are holding you back, and you are starting to find opportunities. You're starting to attract amazing things that actually help you get to the life that you want, instead of spinning your wheels, wondering why you're still broke, wondering why you can't sign clients, wondering why you're not confident. That is how incredible this work is. And by the way, some of that is actually like the neuroscience behind manifestation. So if you want me to do a deep dive into that, let me know. Now let's talk about step 3. Okay, you've made the decision. I'm going to be confident. You've started to embody. You have started to behave like the version of you that gets everything that she wants. Cool. What next? The third thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is reinforcement over time. So much of the time, what happens is women come to me and they're like, I've tried a million times to do this, or I'm restarting my journey to do this. Why isn't it working for me? Well, you dropped the ball on reinforcement over time. Your brain is not a place for overnight change, especially if you are an adult. Okay, it'd be a different story if you're 7 years old, which if you're 7 years old, please don't be watching this. But as soon as you are an adult, I think the age is 25. Anyone older than the age of 25, you are looking at a time period of change when you decide to shift your thinking. So any overnight expectations can just go out the window. And generally what happens in this time for people who drop the ball on reinforcement, the people who don't continue to do the work, is they slide right back to their old autopilot. They let old habits take over. They let old bullshit start to run the show. And here's why that is such a problem if you're a woman. Your societal conditioning is already working against you a little bit. And I am not someone who plays the victim. I am not someone who likes to acknowledge that anyone is coming from a deficit. However, I am in firm belief that women societally, from a psychological perspective, there are so many studies on this, they are already coming from a place where they have been subliminally communicated to throughout their entire lives that they are less than, that they need to be humble, that they can't be too over the top or too much or too bold or too confident. First of all, fuck that. But second of all, that is the trap that you are going to fall right back into if you do not continue to reinforce your highest self energy. So it is absolutely crucial as women during this process, when you are changing your mind about who you are, that you are continuing to reinforce that thought. You are continuing to reinforce the highest self vibes. You are continually reinforcing the thoughts that you want to be thinking instead of the ones that were programmed into your mind already. And they are the very thoughts that have been holding you back until now. And the reason why so many of us struggle to just get the fuck out of our own way is because we never actually take that step. We stay in the thoughts that we think are just the truth because they're just the thoughts that have come up enough times that our brain decides that they're true. And I have talked about this before, but if you want the biggest piece of living proof that confidence is a choice and that the thoughts that you think are really the only things that matter, not anything else, just take a look at Pete Davidson. I have talked about Pete Davidson before at length, and if Pete Davidson ever watches my videos or my podcast, which I don't really foresee, but if he ever did, he would probably be really insulted. And I don't mean this as an insult, Pete. If you're watching, please forgive me. But personal preference, and this is just opinion based, Pete Davidson is not my type. I don't understand how he has managed to date some of the most beautiful women in Hollywood, and not even just beautiful, but just successful, intellectual, talented women. I don't understand the appeal with Pete Davidson, and yet he has managed to date some of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. And the only explanation for that is that he is confident enough to go after them and he truly believes that he's capable of getting these women. If that is not enough proof for you that you get to decide to be confident, I don't have anything else for you. I really don't. You have got to stop believing old bullshit stories just because you thought them enough times. You can change them at any time. You can decide who you are at any time. And this is what this is all about. You decide, you embody, you reinforce over and over and over again until one day you wake up and you go, holy shit, I did it. This is incredible. My life is completely different. And that is pretty much what happened to me. I look back now, I'm like, I don't even know who that girl was. Okay, I dress completely different. I speak about myself differently. I speak about and to others differently. I feel different. And there are very many other factors of my life that have changed positively as a result as well. But those things cannot happen until you take the first step and decide. Decide that things are different, kickstart the neuroplasticity, kickstart this mindset shift, and start to watch your life change. And so here's just a little section of bonus tips for you. After you have mastered the decide, embody, reinforce cycle, here are some little things that can be adding up every single day for you. Number one, I highly, highly recommend visualization. Really being able to see your goals come true, first of all, triggers things differently inside your brain and helps speed up the process of shifting your mindset. But beyond that, it really helps you get clear on who you want to be, what you want, and gets you into the frame of mind that your highest self is in. Number two, do check-ins with yourself every day throughout the day, right? Catch yourself when you're thinking a shitty thought. Catch yourself when your inner critic or your inner bitch or your limiting beliefs or whatever you want to call it start to pop up for you. Be conscious enough and focused enough on this change that when those things happen, you catch yourself and you restart the process of deciding, embodiment, and reinforcement. Those little things really, really add up over time, and they're the things that a lot of people are sleeping on, and that's why they struggle to change. And then my last bonus tip for you is do not speak about yourself negatively at all. Do not use self-doubt talk. Do not use negative self-talk. Talk to yourself like you talk to your bestie. Be genuinely loving toward yourself, because self-love really will change the entire game for you. I've talked a lot about self-love and I will talk a lot about self-love forever. But being kind to yourself and loving and empowering yourself and really being your biggest fucking cheerleader will reinforce this shit so much quicker, because otherwise, if you are using negative self-talk, you are using self-doubt, you are basically just fighting against all of the other work that you're doing. And essentially what's going to happen is it's going to cancel out all of the deciding, embodiment, and reinforcement that you're working toward. And you might as well just not even bother. And the absolute best way to guarantee that you are going to be successful on this journey is to have that consistent work put in. So as someone who is very passionate about this work, come join me in Healing House, which is a membership community basically designed for this exact thing. You're going to have weekly reinforcement for the journey that you're on. There are tons of resources in there for you that are designed to rewire your brain, change your subconscious, and allow you to live your best fucking life. So I will link information to Healing House down in the show notes / description box / whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I think that you will absolutely be obsessed with it like I am. The queens inside are fucking fabulous. And overall, it is an extremely helpful way to help you stay on track during this rewiring process. I am not just about having the confidence to post on social media or just having the confidence to show up in your business. I want you to have the confidence to live your best fucking life in every single area of your life. Life is way too short to not have a fabulous time, and that is all I'm after for me and for you. So if you are ready to do that work, I am ready to guide you. Healing House is a great opportunity, but I also have some one-on-one options available as well. And before I leave you, just a final reminder, confidence is a habit, it is a practice, it is not a trait. It is something that you can be working toward daily that can absolutely change your entire life. If you change the way that you think, you can get everything that you want simply through this process, which is absolutely mind-boggling, but also really fucking cool. So I hope that you take today's episode and put it into practice immediately. Hit pause on this or close out of it or whatever when it's done and immediately start making change. Go the fuck after what you want and stop waiting. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Take this shit and run with it, and you will absolutely see your life change a lot quicker than you think it will. And that is it for this week, my queens. I love you very much. Please go slay, go decide, embody, and reinforce, and I will see you guys next week.